This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good night, and welcome to the Doctor's Inn with me, Dr. Denethra Archer Cartwright. Welcome to the show here on Guardian Talk Radio 96.9 on Tuesday at 6:30. It's wonderful to have you guys here before the beginning of the season. Christmas is coming up, and I hope everybody is having a blessed few weeks before Christmas. You know, this is a time for us to really reflect, and those of you who are Christians, to think about what this season really means for me, who consider myself a very spiritual person and a Christian at that. I do reflect on the meaning of the season, the true meaning, which is celebrating the birth of Jesus Christ, and just kind of knowing that there is something greater that takes care of each and every one of us and has put us on this earth for a purpose. Now, for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, I'm Dr. Denethra Archer Cartwright. I'm a family medicine specialist and host of The Doctor is In. Now, one thing I would like to say before we really get started is I do have a topic tonight. I know we've had a few non-live shows, because, you know, as life goes on, things change and life becomes something quite different over time. And I think we've all had a crazy last few years, COVID and everything that's happened, and has allowed us all to reflect on our lives and to kind of focus on the things that are very important to us and what do we want to do with our lives. And so I think the show took a slower pace after COVID. And I've just been kind of like struggling to continue going for a little bit. Not because I don't love educating the Bahamian public, and definitely it's something that I'm continuing to do. But then sometimes I think it's just time to move on from something in order to do other things in your life. So this is going to be the last show on Guardian Radio for a while. I want to thank the radio station and especially Dwight Strawn, who's been really, really great and understanding about everything and allowing me to kind of just freely do the show, and has invited me to come back anytime. But this will be the last live broadcast for quite some time. I am taking a break. I'm not taking a break from healthcare and education, of course, but I will be taking a break from the radio. So, of course, you know, there's a lot of things that are going on. I'm going to give you a little bit of information about that and still try to tap into our main topic tonight, because we are going to talk a little bit about weight loss in women and why that is so difficult. So I want you to stay tuned for that as well. And I just thought about having one maybe trivia question for those of you who have been listening to the show for quite some time. This one's going to be for you. So I'm going to have a prize at the end of the show. I'm going to throw out a question about the show. And if you've been watching the show from the very beginning, because it's been 5 years, guys, it's been 5 years with Guardian Radio. If you've been watching the show, this question is going to be super, super easy. So if you listen until the end, we're going to have a trivia question. What's the prize? I like to give away cash. So I like to go straight to it, and let's say $100 cash for the person who gets the trivia question at the end of the show. And so the phone lines tonight, I'm going to have them open, even though we're going to talk about different things. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Have you been listening to the show? Did you enjoy the show over the years? And maybe what was one of your favorite shows, or things that you think we should have talked about, or anything at all? But you can jump in the conversation about any of that stuff. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Now, of course, brought to you by Medical Concierge Services. For those of you who don't know, I am the founder of Medical Concierge Services. We are a family medicine clinic. We see everybody from children to adults, and we also do NHI. And people always ask me, what is the concierge part of the service? Well, we do home visits, and we do a lot of other things. We do portable EKGs. We pick up prescription drugs. So we do a variety of things. You can always check us out on Facebook, Instagram, or our website, mcsfamilymedicine.com, basically to find out more. You can reach out to us at 3261521 or our WhatsApp line 4324010. And you can also use that line to sign up for NHI. It's best to jump on that as quickly as possible, because that whole system is becoming more difficult to upload on. So if you don't want to be waiting for months, you want to go right now and sign up for Medical Concierge Services. So just comment out, Dee, you done well. Yes, thank you so much. I really enjoyed doing this show over the last 5 years. We had so many interesting guests. We had really in-depth talks. We had interesting phone calls and comments. And, I always say a shout out to Dwight, who believed in me, because when I came to him and I said to him, I want to do a medical show in the evening time, at first he looked at me a little strange, but when we did the pilot, I should make that another question too. I wonder, I think we might have aired that as well, but I'm not sure if we aired the pilot. But he said, let's do it. And he was really down from the very beginning. So it's really been great to have that opportunity. And we had a lot of great sponsors and companies along the way. And so really just a great time talking about health, talking about social topics. We got into a lot of different things over the last few years. And it's really been very interesting. So you're going to say, what are you going to do, Dr. Archer? Well, of course, I'm a doctor, so I'm always busy doing that. I'm always busy doing concierge services. I do intend to still do a bit of social media education in healthcare, so you can tap into my social media pages. Of course, it's going to be Dr. Denotra Archer page, Dr. D. Archer, the doctors in. And I'll probably be reviving my YouTube channel as well, so you can look out for that. And if you want to be a part of some of the things that I'm going to be doing over the next year, you can reach out to me if you want to be a sponsor or you want to support in any kind of way. Just send a message to my WhatsApp, which would be the 432-4010 number. Someone already came up to me and it was like they want to be a sponsor for what I'm doing next. So, it's going to be a really exciting time for that. So you want to jump on board with that fairly quickly. And also something that I'm doing is tying into this topic that we're going to do tonight. And so I hope everyone will be cool with that. Another thing is I will be doing like a health expo fair next year. So we also are looking for people to collaborate with that as well. So if you want to be on board, or you want to know what I'm doing, you want to be a part of that, then you can always send me a message. And you can also email me at drd@mcsfamilymedicine.com. So a lot of exciting things happening next year. Going to switch it up from doing video and just do a few other things, and a lot more speaking. So people have shown interest in me speaking at events and speaking specifically to groups. So you can also reach out to me about that as well. I do enjoy speaking and doing presentations. It's something I really love because it allows me to do like a lot of research and then to interact with people um, right away in real time and face to face. So it's really, really awesome. So you can hear from me in multiple different ways. And so if you want to jump in, if you have anything to say, I want to be a part of the conversation, the numbers are 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. I want to thank everybody who have listened over the past 5 years. Yes, it's been 5 years. Each and every one of you is special, especially my Facebook online crew. There's a crew who always comes on and they're very supportive of me. They ask questions and they always share the live. So those guys are really, really amazing. We used to have a lot more views before Facebook kind of changed the algorithm during COVID. Thousands of viewers, actually. So that really kind of changed a lot of stuff as well. But that's okay. We're going to do things a little bit different. So the topic that I wanted to end on, I think is really, really important, especially me as a woman. I have a 2-year-old, so I was recently pregnant just about 2 years ago. And, for the first time, I guess I struggled with my weight loss because I've always been able to lose weight fairly easy. And I've always been like a very active person, so it never really was a thing. But there was definitely a shift in the way that I was, my body was just interacting with weight and how I was losing weight. And it made me really do a lot of research and kind of look into why this was happening. And I had to do a completely reset to even be able to start to lose weight in any way. And so that brings me on to the topic of like weight and obesity in women and how that affects women so differently from men. And I also look in my practice and I see that it's so much easier for the men in a lot of cases to lose weight. I give them goals and they pretty much do it. Now, I would say my men out there, you're very steadfast in things. And when you get a goal in mind, you do work towards it. But there's some other things that play a role in the way that people lose weight. Because we talk about losing weight all the time. We make it sound so easy, but we know that losing weight is a difficult thing for a lot of people. And obesity really is kind of like the foundation for a lot of the chronic illnesses that we talk so much about. So what is it? So when we look at women over the last 10 to 20 years, women have been edging out men in terms of obesity and severe obesity for quite some time. In the United States, about 42% of women are considered obese. And in the Bahamas in 2016, that number was about 38.1. And they suspect that it's been growing 1.36% every year since then. So we're very close to the U.S. And our women, a lot of our women fall into the obesity category. So the prevalence is extremely high for women between the ages of 18 and older. And what do we mean when we say obesity? When we talk about obesity, we talk about those persons who have a BMI, excuse me, over the age of over 30. And so we measure using what we call the body mass index, looking at your height, looking at your weight, get a rough estimate of where you should be. So normally between 18 to 25 would be normal. 25 and above would be overweight, and anything over 30 would be obesity. So a lot of our women are actually falling into that category. And as things go by and as life changes, it becomes really hard to get out of that. So obesity in women, the prevalence, probably close to 40%. So how does that affect women? Well, it affects them in a lot of different ways because really, if you're not your ideal weight, you're always going to be at risk for some type of chronic disease. And so you have to look at the risk factors. Now, number one, genetics does always play a role in this. So family history, genetics can all have generational kind of cycles in which people are. But a lot of that too is linked to the things that the family does, like the way the family eats, the way that the family deal with exercise, or those types of things. And then our environment, so the food that we have access to, the physical activity that we are able to do, the way that we sleep, and if we get enough sleep. All of these things, including aging, can be related to reasons why we're not able to lose weight. So what are the health risks of obesity in women? So there's a higher risk for cancers. The rate of cancers are related to weight at higher in women than in men. And women who have higher weights have an increased risk of at least 13 different types of cancers, including endometrial cancers, ovarian, and postmenopausal, and including breast cancer. They can also have problems during pregnancy, such as gestational diabetes, in which they can have diabetes during the period of the pregnancy, and this can really affect the child. Preeclampsia, which is like elevated blood pressure, and can really create serious problems during the pregnancy, and difficulty getting proper ultrasounds that would measure the baby's heart and be able to see certain things. So they can also have problems in labor, as well as increased need for cesarean section and higher risk for C-sections and complications. Those of you who are trying to reach me on my phone, I'm on live, so I won't be able to kind of answer your text until I come off the live, but I do see some messages coming through. All right. So, and you can also have problems getting pregnant. And this I see a lot in a lot of our young women who are really obese and severely overweight because they can have PCOS, or what we call polycystic ovarian syndrome. And it's a hormonal problem in which they end up with infertility and issues with their menstrual cycle. You can also have problems with your pelvic floor because the extra weight can lead to problems with urination and keeping organs in place. So what are the health risks of children born to mothers with obesity? And this is why, women, we play such an important role in life because we are the one to bear children. So a lot of the things that we do also affect our kids. And so, unfortunately, women with obesity can also kind of pass over some of these problems to their children. And so they are at higher risk for miscarriages and other risks for preterm birth and birth defects that would affect the heart and the nervous system. Later in life, these children also have a harder time with weight, and they can continue to have some of these increased risks of obesity and diabetes that their mothers dealt with in pregnancy, and there's a greater risk of them developing these diseases later on in life. So does weight loss reverse these risks? Well, yes, in a lot of ways it can. So even losing just a few pounds, 3 to 5% of your body weight, can really reduce a lot of the health risks from obesity. However, even greater if you focus on about 5 to 10% of your body weight. So what does this mean? Let's say your BMI is 25 and you weigh 250 pounds, or is over 25 and you weigh 250 pounds. So your goal would be to lose that 10%, with 25% of that over the next 6 months. And for mothers with obesity, losing weight can be really good and healthy for their next generation. So one study found that bariatric surgery could reduce complications during pregnancy, as well as obesity and other health risks in children. So just by the mother losing weight, increased risk on the children themselves. So there are a lot of things that really make women specifically have an issue with losing weight. And those things can be linked to metabolism, the sex hormones in our bodies, the state of mental health, and some of the behaviors that are more inclined to being a woman. So the first disadvantage comes through because of physiology. So men have much more muscle mass than women, but they also have a higher metabolism. And that's the way that our body converts what we eat and drink into energy. So men do this more efficiently than women. Additionally, women have higher concentrations of a substance called leptin, and this is the hormone that reduces food intake and body weight. So people with obesity tend to have higher levels of leptin but do not respond to it as they are expected, which is called leptin resistance. And the difference in leptin levels between genders may also have something to do with why it's harder for women to lose weight. So the research on that is really ongoing. Then we look at our sexual hormones like estrogen and progesterone. These hormones can affect our bodies in a lot of different ways and affect the way that we eat and how our bodies store fat. So men and women have different hormones. It's not a surprise that our bodies really respond to food and the way that we eat in very different ways as well. An example of this is how men and women put on fat. So men tend to have a fat around their midsections, while women tend to carry fat around their lower body. Another difference that we would probably see between men and women and their hormonal levels is that women go through different changes throughout their life. And considering the three very distinct scenarios where there is a drastic change in a woman's life, each one can have a significant impact on a woman's weight. So women have an ongoing menstrual cycle. And hormone levels are basically changing during the menstrual cycle, and it affects both the caloric intake and the metabolism. Estrogen effects on another hormone called cholecystokinin can make you feel less full, and high progesterone levels can cause the body to burn more energy. So women are always kind of like an up and a down. And so just how our hormones fluctuate monthly, this can affect the way that we burn energy, and this can cause some problem for women when it comes to weight loss. Pregnancy, of course, it's normal during a pregnancy to gain some weight during a pregnancy, but of course it can be a slippery slope. So if you gain too much weight during pregnancy, it increases your risk of keeping the excess weight on several years later. And I think that's where a lot of women struggle, that weight afterwards. And, depending on the pregnancy, you can say, well, yeah, you should exercise during the pregnancy. Some people have better pregnancies than others, but yes, that weight gain during pregnancy, very difficult at times, especially I find women are getting pregnant a lot later, hard to get off. And then, of course, menopause. So after menopause, women no longer make estrogen the way they did. And this leads to different fat distribution. And with more fat around their midsections like men, women also tend to lose the muscle mass, and then they gain fat after menopause. So it's almost like a really bad cycle. So some of the protective things that estrogen would do for women having higher levels of estrogen in their body, after menopause, it's just not there. So they gain weight like men, but they don't lose the weight the way that a man does either. So very difficult after menopause to kind of get the weight loss that you're looking for. So do it earlier rather than later. And then, of course, mental health is the third factor. Mental health. Research over the last few decades has basically looked at how mental health has affected a person's weight, and they agree that obesity can actually lead to depression and vice versa, and depression can lead to obesity. And it's likely that the relationship is very complex, and it's like a cause and effect type of thing, right? Or a chicken and the egg type of thing. So weight loss is more difficult in people with depression. Because why? Most of the time, they're not going to be active. They may be sleeping a lot more. And so, depressed people tend to weigh more. And depression is obviously more common in women than in men. And we can see this across the world. So there are other reasons, well, that losing weight can be a challenge for women. And we know that the bulk of the weight usually happens in early adulthood for a lot of women. Um, but that's not just the beginning there. Research has suggested that events in childhood and our teenage years can affect the body size later in life. So I've always seen that within science. Going through medical school, they talk about how children develop a lot of their fat cells extremely early, and that if you have a problem with obesity in childhood, it'll definitely lead to problems with losing that weight later in life. So I try to be very lean in the way that with my kids very earlier on, because I didn't want them to struggle with their weight. And so that is an important part that I think we really have to think about when we are allowing our children to eat the way that we do or the way that adults do, and thinking that it's okay, because it's really setting up the children for failure. And we have to look to the future of our country at large. So, a lot of people come in and you say, well, why is the kid eating this? Oh, he likes this, he likes that. I like to tell them, these children don't work. They can't afford to buy anything on their own. So it's really the adults in their lives that are going to be affecting the way they eat, their eating habits, and giving them access to these things. So if you put the stuff in the house and you let the kids eat it, they're probably going to go with the stuff that's not very healthy. And at some point, you as a parent will have to take on the responsibility of determining what that's going to be. And what that usually means is that the parent has to change their habits as well. The problem comes in because they don't want to change their habit. They would like their kid to be healthy. They would like their kid to not eat certain things, but they are also doing that. And so they are picking up the patterns. And we talked about family history earlier on, playing maybe even a stronger role than so-called genetics. Okay, we have a caller. Caller, you're on the air.
Oh, God, it is just talking away so long. Dr. Denotra.
Hi.
A couple of questions, but first, what I want to say is that this is my question. Wait, earlier you spoke of urinating and or urination and keeping the organs together. I didn't get that because I was moving around. Would you explain that right over the telephone now for me before?
Say it again, urination?
Yeah, you're talking about urination or urinating, something of that sort, and holding the organs together. But I didn't caught it in a proper manner.
Yeah, I was talking about obesity, especially in women, can affect the urination and put pressure on certain organs to cause urinary problems. So bladder control issues can be related to some of that, because the women have a pelvic floor, and when there's pressure on the pelvic floor, that can affect the vaginal area as well.
I didn't get that. Women have I didn't get that. You said women have
a vaginal floor. So, we have a pelvic and a vaginal floor. It's kind of cramped in there because we have a uterus. Men don't have a uterus, right? Mm-hmm. And so when women gain a lot of weight, there's a lot of pressure on the organs inside the abdomen. And that can affect and cause them to have problems, bladder issues, those types of things can be related just to weight.
I got you. Okay, what I want to say also is that now you're leaving us. You didn't say the reason why.
Oh.
That's personal.
I would say it's just getting a little bit harder to do it with everything that I am currently doing. And I would say that, I kind of was transitioning out a little bit during COVID. I kind of slowed down. The station made a lot of allowances for me to kind of stay and kind of do it from home and do a lot of things, but it's gotten harder to do. I didn't really get 100% back into it like the way that I should have. I got focused on a lot of other things. And I didn't even really try to do any kind of sponsorship or anything like that. I was just kind of doing the show. And I think COVID also changed my outlook on a lot of things.
Okay.
And just kind of where I need to focus for a little while.
I know what you mean. That's what being
Yeah.
a doctor is all about, and especially when you have children and a husband.
Right.
But what I want to say, right?
Yes, sir.
I really appreciate one your show, a couple of your shows I really liked. One when you were speaking of the kidneys, and the one is when you were speaking of what happens when you had dealt with a patient and would have to go away, or take vacation or something of that sort. The understanding in which I have gotten from you at that time pertaining to those two information, I love it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening. So, like I said, I've really enjoyed the last 5 years. I've always been kind of patient-centered in terms of, and I believe education is really the key to cracking a lot of our issues in this
Right.
country. So, it's been a joy, and I'm not completely going away, but I'm just probably in different ways be interacting with those types of things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're beautiful. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
And you're welcome.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I feel free to call in anybody who wants to. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. It's my last show tonight on Guardian Radio. Who knows, maybe back in the future, but I'm going to take a little bit of a break. I'm going to be focusing on, I guess, like family and a few other things, projects that I want to do. But it's really been a delight being here on this. We have another caller. You're on here.
Good night, Dr. Archer. How are you doing?
Good night. I'm doing
Yes,
great.
we're going to miss your show. I mean, you didn't think about coming back no time soon in the future?
I don't know. I'm gonna see. Like I said, I have a couple of projects I want to do. I want to do a health fair in March. So if you guys want to be on board with that, you guys can reach out to me. But I'm really gonna see, and I want to do some more things on the ground with healthcare to just move that forward. It's my dream to take some of these things that we talk about and really implement it and make it a reality. And so hopefully we can get a lot of that stuff done, and we'll have a better healthcare system in the next few years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my question to you tonight is basically, I mean, it's a little off the path, but it's based on women in the water scene. That there's women shark attacks, right? And in my mind, no one ever even thought about it, that a menstruating a shark.
Say that again, sir. I can't hear you.
A menstruating woman, a woman who has a period on, and she goes in the water.
Yes.
With the blood coming out of her, attract a shark.
Okay.
I mean, I never had no one talking about it, but I mean, if blood is blood, and the shark is attracted to blood, and the woman, she's menstruating in the water, don't you think a shark would be attracted to her? Like how a dog would be attracted to a cancer patient.
I think what they say is that sharks aren't really attracted to human blood like that.
Yeah. What do you mean they attracted to human blood?
These things are always possible, but I mean, I've never heard that as like one of the main things that kind of causing shark attacks. You know what I mean?
But I mean, no one ever looked into it, because if I was a woman and if I menstruating and I was shark like blood, a shark don't differentiate what kind of blood. Blood is blood.
Right. Those animals are super, super sensitive, and I'm sure that they can smell the blood, and I'm sure they probably have preferred types of blood, that they like, so our blood would smell different from a fish or an animal or something.
But I mean,
like
blood
that.
is blood. Blood is blood.
So there's no real studies on that per se. That's something to think about, but I don't think that's like the whole of things. Like, I don't know. I would have to look to see, have there been more women attacked by sharks than men? I would have to look at that statistic.
But I'm not
sure. True.
Since you're so sensitive towards basically what happens in the male and the female gender, don't you think some woman advocate groups should look into some kind of research so that they can basically warn women if they're menstruating, don't go in the water? I mean, come on, man. Blood is blood.
I don't think there's a lot of evidence for that, and then I don't think a lot of women really go swimming when their period is
Yeah, you can't say that.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that I don't think there's any hard evidence to that right now.
Yeah, I think they should do some research on that so that they can basically warn women because
the basic research that's out there right now, I don't think it really points to that. So
or basically they haven't done any researches in light of that. Because it's all
if you look it up, they'll say that that sharks are not really attracted to human blood.
Okay.
Right. So that would put that out of the question. Right.
So why are they attracted?
That's what I'm trying to say. Those animals are super, super sensitive, right? So they smell the differences between things. And it doesn't seem to have any information where sharks are like more attracted to that versus going out there and eating some fish.
Yeah. Hey, Doc, and another thing, right? But I was thinking about in reference to the shark also, right? Because I remember as a little boy, right? I remember Jacques Cousteau. Remember Jacques Cousteau?
Yeah, I remember those. I'm a child of the 80s.
Yeah. They were, I guess they were the initiates of tagging sea creatures, basically putting devices on them and to monitor how deep they go and to control the behavior, whatever they want, right? And we had the COVID period where there's basically in the waters with the sharks and whatever fish, they do whatever they want to do and they did whatever they had to do, right? But it's so if you have the intervention of man, the devices of, say, different GPS tracking systems and control systems where they can basically manipulate the action of the shark or any fish or turtle or whatever they have them tagged with, because tag them, you can irritate them also because there are frequencies that they don't like. And then you start sending the frequencies out that the shark or the turtle doesn't like, he acts in a different way. He get aggressive or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if that is a part of it because man of control with anything is even better. What do you think about the fish in the sea? What do you think about other humans with all the cell phones in their hands? What do you think about the fish?
Yeah, there's a lot of things possible. I think what we need to do in the Bahamas is we need to, because we are surrounded by the ocean, we really should be a hub for research, right?
Yeah.
I don't know why we don't like research in this country, but we should be a hub for research because so many different animals come through our waters, migrate through our waters. And we're having, let's say, these shark attacks that are happening recently, someone should be on that, from the government or from the university, who should be looking specifically to see if there's any particular link. Is there an increase in the sharks, to information for the public. So, when things happen in the U.S., you hear quickly someone has gone and said, well, no, there hasn't been more sharks, coming out. This is actually the average for the year. And we've been analyzing this, and this is why you're seeing sharks. We don't get that level of information. We all have to kind of just guess and go off of myths and fancies. So we live in this world that's almost not real in a sense. Because what do we really know is true when there's no data? Yeah. And so we need to be a more data-driven society so that we can know specifically what's happening. And this is a very good case of showing you how we are still very unorganized in this country.
Hey, Doc, the banning of catching shark and the ban of catching shark on the shark right now, right? So when you stop the killing of the shark population, I guess it tripled and quadrupled since basically we had the law to say, well, you can't catch shark, it's against the law, right? So the shark population is grown tremendously, and so humans go into the water, and what do you expect? It's if you allow something to be out of control, and you figure you're going in there because you're human. And you're human and you'll be all right. You ain't gonna be all right. You're not gonna be all right.
Sharks are predators. The only other predator is human beings that are gonna get at sharks. So what I would say is that goes back to not enough information. Where are the statisticians? Where are the people who are saying, well, can counter and say, well, no, we don't have more sharks, or yes, we have more sharks, because we make decisions based on what other people tell us to do, right? So there's a conference around the world and they say, you shouldn't kill the sharks. Well, I'm not saying that we should kill sharks. I'm just saying that we take information from elsewhere and then we create policies, and we don't really understand how policies will affect us. So now we should even have someone now take a look at how did that policy affect us long run? Do we have an increased population of sharks that's causing a problem, or is this a one-off type of thing?
You know
we
that.
need that kind of
the shark
information.
population is so booming right now. I tell you, if they open up to say shark hunting season, they could go and catch shark and make them McDonald's sandwiches, eh?
I don't know about that, but what I would say is, I want to have the information. Is this a problem or is it not a problem? Because there's a lot of anecdotal information, and then you don't want to be doing things based on just emotions. You really want to know what's going on, and is there a really humane way of dealing with it? Because we are in coaching on their world, right? So I'm a shark, I'm living. You want to come swimming and doing your thing in my mix. I don't know. You kick me, I kick you back. I don't know. So there's a lot of nuance to this.
Hey, Doc, do you think the shark of a humane society, where they think about you can't do this, you can't do that?
No, but I have a genuine respect for nature, right? So God created us, and He created the animals to flourish on the earth. When we jump in the water, we're taking a risk every time, because that's kind of like their domain. I'm saying to you that I don't want humans to be hurt, and I want us all to be safe. But if we don't have to do things that are inhumane, I'm for it as well. And so that's why I need information.
Inhumane, right? Inhumane. So we're not doing the inhumane thing, but then humans go in the water, you get slaughtered. And deeper than that, I mean, it's like... So.
No, I'm saying to you that he's an animal, and he's just doing what animals do, but it's a level of knowledge and information, right? You're more aware.
I can't say that. I can't say that, I can't say that. We believe that as humans that we know it all and this and that. The simple creatures, right? They don't have a bunch of devices on them. Do you think a shark is more aware than you are?
I beg your pardon? You think he has a higher level of consciousness and thinking than you?
What do you mean, the creatures?
I'm saying to you, yeah.
Doc, want me to say something? I think humans have it wrong.
We are basically the highest beings on this earth.
Doc, listen to me. I think humans have it wrong, right? Because we write books and we indoctrinate people into all kind of ideologies and stuff, right? Them simple creatures we see out there, right? We underestimate them and look at them like nothing, because they don't have the books and they don't have the destruction that humans come with, right? But those creatures are more inclined. I talk about thought-wise and every other aspect of living. They have never been told lies. They live life for what it is. We humans, we have the best. Everything we do is someone tell us that we act on that. We're not acting on our natural instinct to live. Those creatures, that's what they do. Look at a mosquito.
That's what I'm saying. They're just living their lives. So when you talked about just killing the sharks, that's why I said we need an evidence base, and we need a sensible approach to this thing, because they're literally just living on instinct. So what happened? That needs to be researched.
Okay, sometimes humans in general, right? You look at every other creature is less than, right? And for every other creature there is, right?
I respect animals. That's what I'm saying to you.
I beg your pardon?
I'm saying that to you that I respect animals.
Because I'm talking about sometimes. Those creatures, they never drop their guard like human beings. Okay? They never lie.
They only have instinctual living. We've gone higher than that. The basic animal who's just living. Well, we should be above just living for survival. However, I think that's where people are trying to push us back to that level. There's a difference between a man who is living for survival and a man who's living to thrive. Their goals, their way, their perspective in life is totally different.
That's indoctrination. Because man, from inception, man was a survivor. But since man has been indoctrinated and been told that you don't need this, you don't need that, we give you the police, we give you the courts, we give you this, we give you that, we tell you which way to go, we tell you what time to get up, we tell you what day it is. Those creatures, they in reality, in this illusion as humans. And we believe that, all these things, we believe we're better and all this. We have a Bible, this and that. We ain't no Bible. They ain't indoctrinated. That's our problem. We are indoctrinated. We don't even know how to live. We don't even know what to eat.
Everybody's indoctrinated with something, whether it be
they know what to eat, they know where to be, and everything. But human beings,
once you have ears and eyes, you're going to be indoctrinated. Now, what you choose to indoctrinate yourself with is up to you. Thank you, caller. Thank you.
Okay, enjoy your night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, that's what I believe. I believe we choose what we want to really believe in strongly. There are things that we have as base, but you have a lot of people who even like grow up in religion and turn around and they want to do something else with their life. They believe other things. So life is really about choices. And the choices that you make really kind of shape your perspective, shape where you be, shape your environment. And, I think over the last few years, I've grown so much in the way that I've looked at the world and being really kind of a lot more open minded about things and the possibility of things because things are not. Caller, you're on the air. Caller, you're on the air. I'm sorry if you were on hold for a while.
Yeah, hello.
Hello.
Yeah, good night, Dr. Arch. How you doing?
Hi, how you doing?
Yeah, well, I just called the show farewell. I walk in the shop and I get this odd news. I heard you said this to be a last time in there, so the voice of, my voice is gone then, so, in the last call I highlighted some things that I agreed with, but, I don't want to dwell on the shock when we all being kept in the dark, right? And so I saw some narratives written by Dr. MacGyver, the Shadow Minister of Health, and it was saying some things that really was appalling. Especially, I was so vexed with the situation at A&E and the public hospital and the picture that she painted with the words that she had written on the WhatsApp, right? And this situation with the status of the healthcare system now, and what's going on at PMH, et cetera, et cetera. I don't have time to be with him in the shock, to be honest with you, because he said some things. Animals have a heightened sense of consciousness. That's right. Basically like the fittest of the fittest. They inherit these characteristics from God, and they haven't strayed away. Humans are being influenced. I guess what he's saying is that we are being inculcated with narratives and stuff. But what I'm saying is, after a while, some humans develop the ability to discern. You have to be able to know truth from lie, and so one of the ways is observations. And so everybody talks about the poor, and I read up. I read a lot, doctor. I'm hyper conscious. I can't help. I wonder why people hate on me for that. And so he said that humans think they know everything. No, we don't. We don't. That's why I meditate. That's why I read. That's why I seek for understanding. That's why I listen to other people. And my conclusions are based not on what people say to me. So I have deviated. I understand what he's saying, but not everybody's inculcated. Not everybody's indoctrinated. Most of us are socially engineered. They got us drinking bottled water. And I've come to realize that bottled water is really what is killing us. Okay? And I just wanted you, I'm so sorry that you're going. I guess I'll have to mark this, but I'll come to do a show on bottled water because I'm why is it that when you bring consciousness to people, they hate it? Miss Dr. Archer, the bottled water is killing us. So if it's not, when you do
this, you're referring to like the plastic and the way that we acquire water these days.
Even if they get rid of it less, even with the bisphenol B, it still leaches out. So we haven't done our own research, like you say, to see what type of toxin leaches out after a certain period of time, sunlight exposure, et cetera, et cetera. But see, the thing is,
it would be interesting because, I stopped drinking a lot of local waters. I'm sorry, the change in the taste, right? To me, if I can taste the plastic, there's something wrong here. And the way we so-called recycle bottles here, just cleaning bottles and starting all over again, I don't know. I just think
all right, but Dr. D, why I said that, right, it was something popped up on, it was a recent study, and then I saw this study where they say the United States government has decided to look into the real effects of plastics on human. When they know, all right, plastic, what it is, polymerization, right? Long chains of carbon, et cetera, et cetera. These are the things I can remember from chemistry. So what I'm saying is, that doesn't count. What I'm saying is, we can look at meta-analysis. They have studies for decades now showing dioxin, lead, penicillin, antimony, phthalates, all type of chemicals being found in dolphin and fish, mercury. What I'm saying is, they know this. This is ending up, reverse osmosis doesn't take out all of these things. All right? So what I'm saying is, why I said is because I don't eat meat. I eat a very healthy diet for a period of time, and I still develop BPH. And then we look at it. I got Dr. Pinto to admit something I'd known for decades. Spermatozoa count worldwide has decreased 50%, maybe 60%. This is a study showing male sperm count has decreased worldwide. So then we know about population and gender. We see this in tandem with the decrease of spermatozoans. We know now that plastics are not safe. Then we see the proliferation of products in plastic bottles. Okay? Now the question then becomes what the difference in reactivity between the thin plastics and the thick plastics. So this is the study that I called for a couple of years ago on the radio. But what I'm saying is, Dr. D, why is it that when we get sick, people say, how you get sick? Most of us are unconscious. This is what the guy's saying. So if I'm conscious about something, what is wrong about me sharing it? The pandemic has taught me not to really trust pundits. It has showed me that because the pundits and the status quo bind together to spread propaganda. We can look at the American government working in tandem with big pharmaceutical companies. They've taken the taxpayers' money to fund the vaccine research and then turn around and charge the countries to buy it. So this is why they wouldn't admit and compensate people and admit to the real white papers that showed when the mice were exposed to the wild virus, they died. All right? They don't paint positive pictures of the immune system, characteristics of the immune system, like the antibodies mutate also just as the virus mutate. They don't speak the truth about nothing. So when we look at the way of America, if we really interested in helping people now, why is it that A&E is in the condition it's in?
I retired from public healthcare.
Yeah, but Dr. D, he has that right now.
I know. I'm just saying to you, I just think that we can do a lot better.
But I just want to express this before you let me go, because what I'm saying is people are, Dr. D, I am sick with this human journey. I don't know. What I'm saying is the triage system to me is a death panel for me, because what I'm saying is when we look at all of this fast of a narrative about helping the poor, when I told people that it's really subliminally designed to get rid of the poor, that is how they help the poor, by getting rid of us. I might not be the poorest person, but I can't jump up and buy everything that I need one time and one day like somebody else. So what I'm saying is the farce is they make the poor believe they care about the poor. But if the affordability of health care is not abundant, how then can you tell me you're helping the poor?
And I think this is where we as Bahamians need to wake up from social.
They want to get rid of the poor, Dr. D? Because if I can't afford a surgery for 20, 30 grand cash.
Hold on. Let me talk 52. Healthcare will never be cheap. Healthcare will never be cheap because it's something that you need. Anything in life that is a necessity like that, it's not going to be cheap.
We talk about affordability, subsidization.
If you keep thinking about it like that, that's why you're going to have problems, because the public healthcare system is based on the taxes that they take from you.
Yeah, I know, Dr.
Everything
but
that the government so-called gives, wait. Everything that the government so-called gives to you is taken from you. And so it has to be a cycle of poverty, because if I have to take from you and then spread it out amongst all of you, you're going to have less.
Yes.
You have to change your perspective, and we have to get out of this socialism mindset. See, whilst you're there waiting for them to fix A&E, this world is being driven by capitalism.
Yeah, but I'm not looking for a social, Dr. D.
The problem is that if you are trying to live in a capitalistic world from a socialist point of view, you're going to have problems.
Yeah, but they're still looking to spend money. What I'm saying is the affordability.
Really came to because, I try to help people without putting on the mask myself, the oxygen mask. And that can't work. Right? You either have to create your own alternative systems.
You paying for it, right?
Create your own alternatives that you can provide certain things with. But it requires money.
So, so we don't deserve. So you're saying, Dr. D, we don't deserve anything?
No, I'm saying to you that your perspective on it is where the problem is, because
but I'm not looking for
expecting the government, to provide more than the bare minimum, you're going to have a problem, because it's socialized medicine. And socialized medicine is, I'm going to take the one piece of bread and I'm going to make sure that everybody got a piece, even if it's 100 of you. Right? If you understand that concept, then you realize where the problem is. And then we're not focused as a country on collecting money in a way that's not taking from the poor. You know, when we all allowed a regressive tax to come into play, that is a regressive tax. The people who are going to be hurt more by that tax are the poor. So the poor.
But Dr. D, I'm not really looking for a social
little that they have.
free health care. You know? What I'm saying is,
No, I'm not saying free health care. I'm saying once it's
they might just shut it down and just let everybody die. Then that's what I'm saying.
No, I'm saying to you that if we as a people reject this idea of socialism, we would have better outcomes in our systems.
All right, but Dr. Z, what about educating people so that they don't get sick in the vast numbers with avoidable communicable diseases or non-contagious diseases, I would say?
I think
what about educating the people and exposing the capitalistic ideal of poisoning us with sugar and toxins and preservatives?
No, but you understand that we
need a high level of consciousness in order to avoid.
We have 1 more minute, so let me get this last piece in. When you pick your leadership, you pick who represents you. So they're going to attack problems from their perspective. And if their perspective is the perspective of the global world agenda, where do you fit into that? So we can't fix the little problems without fixing the larger problems. That is my big realization, right? We've got some gaping holes and we need to do things in an alternative manner, because if we continue doing things exactly the way we're doing it now, we're not going to get a different result. You're asking the same group of people over and over again to give you a different result. So if you really want to talk about the problem, the Bahamian people have to decide what kind of country they want and who they want representing them. Because these people make critical decisions on your behalf, and you complain about it over and over again, and you make the same decision all the time. And you fight for that bad decision making. We have to think about that. And if we want to continue this cycle, let's continue doing what we're doing. We need a grand change in our perspective.
But Dr. D, what I'm saying is something like a basic surgery money.
Yeah, because that's just a symptom of the bigger problem. Right?
I don't have a problem with spending my money. What I'm saying
this is my last show. I can't go into it. I gotta go 52. I really enjoy our conversation. Not the last time that we will talk. Everybody, if you want to reach out to me, you can check me out at my office, Medical Concierge Services. 326-1521 or WhatsApp 432-4010. I wish we had more time. I hope to see you guys soon. But it's been wonderful 5 years. I will continue to be a part of the educational system when it comes to healthcare in this country and strive for what's best for the Bahamian people. I love you all, and I thank you all for being with me for 5 years. Good night for the last time on The Doctor's In with me, Dr. Denotra Archer Cartwright. Good night. Good night to you on Facebook. Thank you for listening.